Hello, welcome to our interview with Plotagon CEO and founder, Kingdon.
It is the magical application that turns text into movies.
This movie, Clip, was created entirely with Plotagon.
So I guess, we are in a movie.
Okay. So, very quick question just to warm up.
Yeah.
Is what is really your background? Where do you come from? And
all right. Yeah. So I started with KTH Electro. I went to KTH in '89 through '93, and then I worked for Ericsson as an engineer in Sweden and in Germany and in USA, and I did some standardization work, which led to that I got to start a product line at Ericsson, which moved me from telecom to mobile internet.
So you already had an experience of launching new ideas and making them happen on the market?
Yeah, exactly. It was very inspiring. Actually, it was location-based services, which is an area where you locate mobile phones. So I got to be the chairman of the standard group and also start an industry forum and such. So that made me think of starting new things. So after Ericsson I did lots of startups, and I also did an MBA for the Stockholm School of Economics.
Okay, and so then what made you choose that this idea was your $1 million idea?
Yeah, well, it's my third startup idea myself, and I've been involved in selling for startups for other people. And so over the time there's lots of different things that play in. One aspect was that I had started a business niche with location-based services, and I wanted to start a new niche, but I wanted it to be bigger. And then I'm interested in music and arts, and so I saw that with computers getting more powerful, it would be possible to replicate what happened to the music industry in the movie business. And then also I had experience from raising venture capital. So I knew what they were looking for, and typically they're looking for something with a very large potential.
Okay, so you already knew the business itself, and previous experience in the music industry where similar changes were beneficial.
Yeah, no, this one I said now is just like a summary. So I think you have to look at all different aspects of a business, raising capital, running the business, and
What was the first moment you realized, okay, my idea is nice, but it's not exactly usable right now? So what was the first moment you had to change something major?
No, never.
Never?
I think that's a myth. That's a lean startup myth, that the idea doesn't matter. Sure, you can make minor pivots, but I think if you look at any brilliant idea, if you look at IKEA, you look at H&M, they have a stellar idea from the beginning. And I think that's one of the lies young people are being told today, is that you can just go ahead and start a startup and it's no problem. I was an A student. I've been a clever guy all my life. It's taken me 20 years to get here. And I had failed ideas before. And you could call those pivots if you like, that I closed those projects. But developing this idea was, text to movie was the idea from the beginning. It's still the idea. I think.
Would you go as far as saying that if you have to change your idea, then you've done something wrong?
No, well, I think you have to be open to learn, and there's minor things you can change. But I think that if you have, like, IKEA is furniture in flat packages. I think if you have a good idea, it's like that. It's sort of,
And speaking of investors and changes, did sometimes investors ask you to do some changes that you did not want to do?
Yeah.
And what did you do?
Well, I think this is with running this type of company. It's really from the beginning you have nothing, or you have the idea, and then you have to find a way of sort of lifting yourself in the hair to create something out of nothing. And the most important thing to make your idea a reality is getting money. And one of my experiences since before is that, for example, many developers are motivated by a salary and a job, and it's very difficult to get progress if you expect someone to work on their free time for stock. So you have to have money to pay them salaries. And so that's part of it, that you have to accept if someone comes with money and they come with ideas. Maybe you don't agree 100% with the ideas, but you have to go along with it because you need the money. I think someone said running a startup is running through a field and there's a bull in the field. And even if you're heading for the mountain over on the other side of the field, you have to pass the bull first. So the startup is very much like that.
And how many, when you started the company, how many hours did you work a week, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first started it, I had another full-time job, so I was maybe only working 20 hours a week. And then when I left that job, I've been working at least 50 hours, or depends if I'm traveling, I work all.
So how are they really spent? Is it more selling the idea, pitching it, or really developing a product?
The first thing I ever did with the project was actually to write a requirement spec to define what the product should do. But then my role is mostly to sell it to investors or partners.
In that case, yeah, you were different from every of the startup. You had a product really late in your development, so you had to sell it more than develop it in the first place.
Yeah, no, the product we build is very difficult. So we had a team of 16 developers who will build it, and so it was difficult to create something meaningful before that. We built the first product that was ready, like a beta or alpha, if you will, in December 2012. But then we decided it wasn't good enough. So
to show it to the rest of the people.
Yeah, we had testing with people, but it was they like to make movies, but it wasn't self-explanatory how to make them. So they had to have instructions, and also the quality of the movies were too low. So then we went ahead and made a new version of the product. It's much easier to use and it's better.
Yeah, so did you first focus on making it easier to use or on the quality of videos?
Ease of use is most important to us, but then we had a quality goal from the beginning, which was it should be like what they call AAA games of a couple of years back, not AAA games of today.
Triple game today you need online.
You need much more people really. So our characters are character artists who will spend a week or two developing each character, and that kind of sets the level of how high the quality is. If you spend 2 months, then it would be.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of quality of design and product, how did you actually start to do business with Stan Lee?
Yeah, I thought about that. It's I will count the steps. So I used to work with a guy, Per. Per at a telecom conference introduced me to Thomas. Thomas is a networking guy. Thomas invited me to a dinner of interesting people in Stockholm, where I met Katarina. So that's 3 steps. Katarina helped me with some marketing and introduced me to Tommy, who was a lawyer, and he's our lawyer now. He's like the game industry lawyer. We asked Tommy about a year ago if he knew some people who could help us license software. And he said, well, he knew Gudrun. And then we met Gudrun over Christmas when she was home in Sweden, and then at the Berlin Film Festival, and we signed a deal with her in Austin, South by Southwest in March. And through Gudrun, she knew Stan Lee and Power Entertainment, and so we signed the deal.
So you're proving the idea that everyone is 6
it's
steps away in the
6
world.
steps from me to Stan Lee, exactly. So, but no, exactly. So that proves you have to work the networks all the time.
What kind of mistakes did you do, and what was really your biggest mistake looking back?
I wasn't born by rich parents. They say that.
That's a mistake.
The best way of making a small fortune is to have a large fortune, they say. No, what should I say? You learn all the time, of course. I think relationships are very important. You have to take the time to take care of one relationships. But it's difficult because you're so busy and you're working a lot. So, but I think that's something we should remember to keep everyone happy all the time.
What really was your target in the first place? Because we might say that you're stepping a bit all over the place. You have you're directing towards movie makers, action movie makers, fan fiction.
Yeah.
Did you target anyone in the first place?
Absolutely. We even had this other name for the company to begin with. So it was called Fan Cinema, fan fiction to machine. So it was really very clear to let fan fiction writers make animated movies.
Okay.
And it's still our initial target. And very closely related to them are what we call creative writers, meaning people who write original stories. But then we're trying some other segments. One is we're doing a Christmas pack for greeting cards from Facebook. That's a little bit different. Educators have come to us and said that they like our product, they want to use it for education. Companies have come to us and said they want to use it for advertising movies. And then also script writers like it to try out.
Okay,
but actually what I want to say is that we still make the product for the first purpose. For the script writer, for the amateur script writer or the amateur fanfic writer. And then if other people happen to like it, fine, that's up to them.
Okay.
But we're not gonna change the product a lot to be good for a professional.
Okay, it's just a side effect that everyone likes it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. What is your team size now?
Well, depends how you count, but we say 24, which is full-time employees in Sweden. But then I think we have 8 or 10 part-time consultants that are supporting us as well. So it's an expensive organization.
Okay. What was the biggest technological challenge that you had to face before doing anything constructive?
And there's a number. I think one is the usability. So in the first version of the product, we did what all our competitors had done. Is we ended up with a solution with lots of buttons. You write text and then you have lots of buttons and then you get a movie. And so in the second version we got rid of all the buttons. And so that is, it's a user interface design question, but it's also a technology question behind to make things automatic that require buttons before. So I think that's the most important change for us. But then quality-wise they do work all the time in improving the realism of the camera and of animations and lighting and all those things. So it's a continuous job that I think we'll be getting better all the time. And each new group of characters and environments we release is better than the one before.
Okay, well, I think I'm up for questions.
Yeah, me too.
What I would just like for you to do, Chris, because we're having the interview with Chris Kingdon from Plotagon, and that is just shortly, very briefly, pitch exactly what your company does.
Yeah, sure.
Because
yeah,
the guys did not really get that.
into the question, sure.
Yes.
So what Plotagon does, Plotagon makes it easy and fun for anyone to make and share their own movies with the world.
Great, thank you, Chris.
Hello, welcome to our interview with Plotagon CEO and founder, Chris Kingdon.
It is the magical application that turns text into movies.
This movie, Clip, was created entirely with Plotagon.
So I guess, we are in a movie.